Happy Wednesday, everyone. This week's topic is, how did you know you were gender fluid? So earlier this year I ran into an article on intersex, or just generally the idea that there are more than two genders, which was an eye-opener to me, I'm sad to say. I wish I was taught this in school, but that's a completely different topic. So I just started reading, just out of general interest and to be supportive to people who are into sex, obviously. And that led me to making a Tumblr account, which is something I have explored before, but then ran into a whole bunch of creepiness and deleted that account. So I made a new one, with the intention of only blogging articles and things related to gender and sexuality. And I wasn't planning to reblog anything. And if you have followed me on Tumblr, you know that I kept that up for like 2 weeks, maybe 3. Now I'll just reblog anything that's supportive, anything that's cute. So everything changes, including my gender identity. I was looking into different terms that popped up on my Tumblr dash. Things like intersex, which I finally knew existed, and I'm really annoyed that I never heard of it before. Things like agender. I knew about asexual, but for some reason my brain didn't make the connection to gender, which is also a shame, I will admit. And from there on it just spiraled on with new terms and new concepts, and I don't think I've spent so much time on Wikipedia ever than I did while I was just hanging out on Tumblr that first few months. I learned a lot. I did. I went through several labels until finally settling within the umbrella term gender fluid. At the beginning of this channel, at the beginning of this project, I identified as a demigirl. I have since stepped away from that. I explained to the other people on this channel that I didn't really connect to the term anymore, and that it's not so much my gender that changes as my gender expression, but sometimes I do feel more leaning towards a gender. And last week, I think it was, I felt male for the very first time in my life, and that was a weird thing, but it reassured me that indeed, yes, I'm not gender flux, I am indeed gender fluid. Then Adele, whom you might have seen yesterday, introduced me to the term fluid flux, and I quite like it. What I'm saying is that even though you're not entirely sure what you are, just keep searching. As Dr. Lindsay Doe would say, stay curious. And she's right, and she usually refers to sexuality and all things to do with sex, but it just applies to life in general. Stay curious and ask questions. Question everything. Be critical about life. Be critical about your sexuality. Be critical about your gender. Be critical about the things that you do. Is it what you want to do? Does it satisfy you? Is it what you love doing? Does it keep you alive? And not just financially. And this year, 2015, when I figured out that there are options beyond what I always knew, both in career paths, in sexuality, in genders. This year has really been an eye-opener to me, and I hope that it will be an eye-opener for you too. I guess the bottom line of this video is it might not come to you on a silver platter. It might be a very bumpy, weird, crinkly road, but you will get there. You will find your identity, even if that identity is questioning. You're allowed to be questioning forever if you have to. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. Well, I hope this has helped you, and if it has, feel free to leave it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions for us for weekly topics, please feel free to leave them in the description. I really do like reading comments, and I will reply to each and every one as long as I can. So please do that, and I will see you next week. As that's her oh, come on, don't leave me now.